But we want you to get the sense that there is always this current that comes forth. So we want to give you the big picture. So your source energy, and you decide that a part of your perspective will come forth into this magnificent physical body. So you extend yourself forward where you explore contrast. And as you are exploring the contrast, variety, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want, you give birth to continual streams of rockets of desires. And when those intentions, whether you know it or not, stream forth from you, and they do all day, every day, the source energy part of you follows that rocket and literally becomes the vibrational equivalent of it. We have written a book and given it the best title that has ever been given to any book ever. And the title of the book is Ask and It Is Given. And the reason we like that title so much is because it tells the whole story right in the title. We wanted a longer title. We wanted the title to say, so I am non-physically energy, and then I decide that a part of me will come forth into the physical, and I come forth into a magnificent body, splat, there I am, and then I explore the contrast of the time-place reality, and I give birth to a constant, steady stream of rockets of desires, and when that happens, the larger part of me follows the rocket, embraces it fully, gives its undivided attention to it, becomes the vibrational equivalent of it, and when law of attraction responds to that vibrational essence of that which I have become, then if I get into vibrational alignment with that which it is, I get what I've asked for. But they said it was too long. And it's all right, because the other title says it all anyway. And we're wanting you to feel this whole story. We're wanting you to know who you really are, because the part that so many of you do not understand is that you are here with great reason, and when you give birth to a rocket of desire, the larger part of you literally becomes the equivalent of that which you're asking for. So when you don't have enough money, you ask for more money, and do you realize the veritable fortune that has been amassed for you and is being held for you by your non-physical counterpart? Do you understand that everything that is physical is thought before it is physical? So do you understand that when we tell you that there is a vibrational escrow, we love those words, a vibrational escrow that is your future experience? Do you understand the power of that? Do you know that it's the real thing, that it's not if it will happen, it's already happened, and that all you have to do is in your day-to-day experience with the thoughts you're thinking and the words you're speaking, find vibrational alignment with that part of that which you've been asking for, and then it must manifest in your experience? It must. It is law. It must. So if there are things that you know that you've been asking for that have not yet come into your experience in what you call the real life, physical manifested way, it's only because a part of you has become it, but you're not letting the rest of you catch up with it. And do you know that when you don't let the rest of you catch up with something that life has caused you to become, you don't feel good? And do you know that the reason you don't feel good is because law of attraction, this powerful law that manages everything in this vibrational universe, that's the same law that says when you set your radio at 6:30 a.m., you're going to hear what's being broadcast from that tower. In other words, the frequencies match up. Vibrational frequencies are managed by law of attraction. But something that most of you have not realized as you've been thinking about and hearing about and beginning to dabble in your conscious awareness of law of attraction, there are two vibrational aspects of you that have vibrational relationships with each other, both of which law of attraction is responding to. In other words, there's the you and the drum you're beating. Don't have enough money, never had enough money, really want more money, don't have enough money, really want more money, don't have enough money, never had enough money, I don't have enough money, that costs too much, I don't have enough money, that costs too much, I don't have enough money, that rich bugger over there's got far too much money, not fair, not fair, not fair. So as you're beating the drum of not enough money, even though there's a veritable fortune in your vibrational escrow, and even though the non-physical part of you is standing there as the holder and the liver and the beer of all of that fortune, and even though law of attraction is responding to both versions of you, you can't in your physical form experience the expression or manifestation of that abundance if you're beating the drum of not enough money. And the reason that it feels so awful, like discouragement or disappointment, is because in your beating that drum, you have established a chronic, in most cases, vibrational variance between who you are being and who you really are. You are a prosperous being, but you're not letting yourself be it. And that vibrational variance feels like negative emotion to you. You see how it works? So, have you been hearing about law of attraction? Of course you have. You have been hearing about law of attraction, and do you understand that what you think about and what you speak about and what you feel becomes your point of attraction, so that law of attraction is giving you what you are offering vibrationally? Beginning to get the sense of it as you play with parking lots and lovers and different things. So as you understand that law of attraction is responding to your vibrational offering, do you now get a glimpse of understanding that law of attraction is responding to this larger part of you too? Did you hear us? Or here's a better way of putting it. Do you sort of kind of accept, or being gentle, that you are really this larger energy, this eternal being? And do you accept that you are simultaneously this physically focused being? And do you accept that law of attraction is responding to all aspects of the vibrational beingness that is you? And does it make sense to you, since this is the eternal you that has been around longer than dirt, been around longer than this physical experience, been around longer than you have any way of conceiving in terms of time, this you and this you, which one do you think law of attraction is responding to in the strongest way? Which of those vibrational responses do you think is the strongest? We may be hinting. So as you acknowledge that this part of you has for a very long time isn't even the right expression, is so timeless and so eternal. Law of attraction has been responding to this eternal essence of that which you are for such a long time. Can you feel the pulling power of law of attraction responding to that part of you that is standing in your vibrational escrow, and law of attraction is responding to it? Can you feel it? And if you can feel it, can you feel the pulling power of that? What we're wanting to demonstrate to you is that because you've been around for a very long time, and because you've lived so many lives, and because law of attraction is responding so profoundly and powerfully to the vibrational essence of that which you are, there is this enormous, fast-moving river or current that is flowing toward that which you really are, and everything that you've ever asked for in this physical experience and beyond. A powerful current is flowing. And when you let yourself go with that current, you feel exhilaration and passion. You feel joy and appreciation and love. And when you don't let yourself go, you don't feel so good. When you hold to a thought that is contrary of the thought that is really you, in other words, who you really are as a lover, and when you're mad at someone, you're not going with who you are, and you feel the anger or hatred, which is your indication that you're not letting yourself be who you really are. You're not letting yourself be who life has caused you to become. And the thing that is most interesting about this is that because of the life that you're living, and because of the contrast that you're evaluating, you are the one who is giving the speed to your stream. You're also the one who's either going with it or not going with it. And so you are in total control, not only of how you feel, not only of whether you go with the stream toward everything that you want or not, but you have total control over everything that manifests or doesn't, and how fast it manifests or how slow it manifests in your experience. You're in total control of everything, but most of you don't even know it. Most of you don't realize that there is this powerful stream. Most of you don't realize the importance of the contrast that you are living. That's why when we say, do you enjoy the contrast of your time and place, you say, yes. But when you get this whole picture, when you understand that you came forth expressly to live the contrast, and you knew that the contrast would put things in your vibrational escrow, and doing so would cause an expansion of that which you are, and you knew that law of attraction would respond powerfully to that part of you, and you knew that the source would call you toward it, and you knew from your non-physical perspective that when you go or even turn in the direction of it, you will feel ease and joy, and you knew that when you paddled upstream, it would not feel so good. You knew that before you came forth. And we promised you that we would remind you once you got here. So here you are asking for that reminder, and here we are giving it to you. So many of our physical friends, we see you. You take your boat down to the stream, and invariably you turn that boat upstream and begin paddling very hard. And we say, why not turn and go with the flow? And you say, most of you, oh, that just seems lazy. The people who are really making it happen are all paddling very hard upstream. There's no gain without pain. Only those who persevere are virtuous and valiant, and those are the ones that get the monuments in their name after they croak. We like to be disrespectful of death since there isn't any. Then we listen, always enjoying your warped perspective. And then we cannot help ourselves when we say to you that nothing that you want is upstream. And the reason that we are so emphatic about that is because we know this cycle of life. We know who you are before you come into this body and who you remain even though you're in this body. We know the vibrational relationship between who you are and who you in this body, in this life has caused you to become. We can see the whole picture. We know why the stream flows, and we're here to tell you it flows downstream. It flows with ease. It flows toward everything that you have become. And when you let yourself go with that flow, which means when you find the best feeling thought from where you are and you practice it until it is alive within you, active within you, dominant within you, chronic within you, then you begin to live the manifested blossoming example of who all that you are has caused you to become. In a sense, you're like a two-headed monster, and we just want both heads to get going in the same direction. And when you pull against who you really are, you feel awful. And you blame it on all kinds of other things. You blame it on the economy, you blame it on your mate, you blame it on the people you work with, you blame it on your government, you blame the negative things that are happening in your life on so many things. But there is only one thing that is responsible for the negativity that you feel, and that is you're not going with you. It doesn't have anything to do with what anybody else is doing. Oh, of course, you can be observing other things, and in observing them, you're beating the drum of something that your inner being isn't beating the drum of. In other words, you can be very sure that every time you feel negative emotion, whether it's strong like depression or not so strong like frustration, no matter what negative emotion you're feeling, you can be sure every time you feel even a little particle of negative emotion that it always means this. It means you are looking at something and beating the drum of it, and therefore activating a vibration in you that is far different from the drum the source within you is beating. The drum the source within you beats is love of you and others. And when you are not loving you or others, you are setting up resistance. The drum that beats within you is one of utter worthiness. And when you beat the drum of not enoughness, you are setting up resistance within your being. The drum that beats within you is absolute knowledge of your value, an absolute expectation of this expansion that is inevitable. When you are feeling not enough, or when you are feeling doubt about your ability to do something, you've set up a vibration of resistance. The drum that beats within the source that is really you, the drum that sees through the eyes of source, in other words, that perspective of the eyes of source, knows your absolute wellness. And when you are beating the drum of sickness or gimpiness or limpiness or not enoughness or sniffliness, when you are beating the drum of poor me-ness, you cause a separation of vibration between who you really are and who you are allowing yourself to be. We see our greatest value to you in helping you to turn downstream, which is where all of the stuff that you want is. We have the wonderful advantage of being able to see clearly what you've put in your vibrational escrow. And so, from our point of view, the things that you want, it's not a question of if you can have them. Of course you can. It's only a question of when you will allow them in. And that has to do with how quickly you get a handle on these vibrational indicators and then do something about shifting them. When you go to the gas station and your gas gauge is on empty, you rarely put your head on the steering wheel and weep. I'm done. I've come to the end. Because that indicator is an indicator. It isn't a proclamation. It doesn't say on the gas gauge, empty, defeated, stupid, and life is over. It says, tank's empty, and you know what to do about it. And so the indicator is a benefit to you. You don't ever, or rarely, we've only seen it twice, put a happy face sticker over your gas gauge because it's depressing to see it on empty. Oh, that's so much better. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Because you want to know if your tank is empty. And we are wanting to remind you that you want to know if you are a vibrational match to what's in your vibrational escrow or where you are in proximity to it. Because if you don't know that and you don't do something about it when you find an indicator, don't worry, it will get bigger. In other words, when you feel negative emotion, it always means that right now, the thought you're thinking is not a vibrational match to what's in your vibrational escrow. So all your hopes and dreams, the things you've been asking for, cannot come into your experience in what you would call reality as long as you chronically feel like that. That's your indicator. So many of you become used to feeling negative emotion that you don't deliberately do anything about it. You don't deliberately try to feel better because you're used to not feeling so good. It's just normal to feel sort of ornery and overwhelmed.